Hi, Nathan. The consensus here at City Hall among most of the officials who we spoke to is that yesterday was, in fact, a smooth ride for the launch of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. A big relief, of course, after all of the years of delays and cost overruns that plagued this beleaguered transit line. Now, over at Queen's Park, there have been calls for a public inquiry from the opposition to look into what went wrong, why this project was $1 billion over budget, and why this transit line was ready to ride 6 years after it was originally supposed to open in 2020. Certainly some city councillors here agree that that could be helpful in light of the fact that Toronto will, of course, continue to build transit projects, and Metrolinx will be responsible for some of them, including the Ontario line. Here's more from a few city councillors here this morning.
There's still a lot of work to do in terms of transit signal priority, particularly when the line goes overground. But I think the big lesson here is that there needs to be a better working relationship between Metrolinx and the TTC and the City of Toronto. And there needs to be some sort of inquiry from these two LRT lines in terms of the lessons learned, so that when we're going forward with the next iteration of LRTs, whether it's Eglinton East or Waterfront East, we don't sort of repeat the same mistakes that have already been made.
Because the province is continuing many of the same patterns. They are still using Metrolinx under exclusive provincial control, again meddling into city transit systems and building things that are not compatible with the rest of the transit system. And they're building in this crazy way where a private company, whose motivation, of course, is to minimize expense, is the only one who can maintain the system. TTC is just driving it, but we're not able to fix it. And that seems to me to be a very, very bad design. If an inquiry would prevent that kind of mistake from being made again and again, that would be useful.
We should be doing everything we can to learn lessons from the mistakes, the delays, the cost overruns that happened on this one. You know, the other big thing here is even on the above ground sections, we still saw one of our residents that was able to run faster than the transit service when it was above ground. So whether you like it or not, I think we can reflect back on Mayor Rob Ford's record, where he really emphasized that transit ought to be underground. And I think if this is a city that has an ambitious agenda to build in the future, that might be something that comes top of mind, because when you share the right-of-way, you share the delays. And I am convinced between both Eglinton and Finch West, when you have LRTs in the right-of-way, you have to deal with left-hand turn lanes and intersection timing. It is still more complicated than if you have it underground.
And when you talk about transit signal priority for the LRT in the above ground portions, that still is not fully implemented. There will be some improvements made to that in the next couple of weeks that should speed up new Line 5. There will be more adjustments in March, but full transit signal priority won't be in effect until May. That's it for now from City Hall. I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie.